We're building the largest police force that Western Australia has known. It is at record highs, 7,300 officers. We're turning out as many new graduates as we can. So along with those high quality officers, we want high quality facilities for them to operate from. Now the other thing that's happening today is that we're unveiling a new fleet of 12 Tuareg vehicles, which again are fit for purpose and the highest quality available for our police. The vehicles behind me are going to be used by the Rapid Apprehension Squad, so they're unmarked, so they're about getting to people and gathering up people that need to be taken into custody very quickly. We have a very active Rapid Apprehension Squad. That is meaning that we have a good record in the WA Police of apprehending people that need to be apprehended very rapidly. So these vehicles may look fairly normal on the outside, but they're built for purpose. They have upgrades and other safety features, which means that they can be involved in pursuits safely, that they're equipped with lots of emergency and warning signals and lights. But again, they're about making sure that our police have the best facilities available. We're opening one police station here in Forrestfield, but effectively behind me you're seeing some of the 12 new police stations on wheels that these police cars are now. The technology is such in the West Australian Police Force that a police officer can operate as if they're in their station virtually from their police vehicle. So it means they can be on patrol out there for longer. They don't have to go backwards and forwards between the police stations. If they don't have to, they can operate, they can get the intelligence and the data, the information they need to keep them safe and to make sure they apprehend people quickly and to protect the wider community the most efficient way possible because of the technology, because of the data that's available to them in these vehicles. So 12 mobile police stations on the road, a new police station here in Forrestfield, and this is a very good day for WA Police, and it shows our commitment as a government to make sure the West Australian Police Force is properly resourced and has access to what it needs to keep the community safer. Now I'll hand over to the Commissioner.
Thank you, Minister. It's extraordinary what WA Police has been able to achieve through the investment from this government, particularly starting with our One Force mobile phones way back in 2019. But since then, new police stations like here in Forrestfield, the cars like the VW Tuaregs behind me, we've got satellite downlink on our vehicles in regional Western Australia, automated number plate recognition cameras all throughout Western Australia helps us solve crime faster than ever before. The police station here, as the Minister said, is not only a place for respite for our men and women who do an extremely challenging job every day in our community, keeping our community safe, but it is also one of the safest facilities in the world for them and for those that come into the police station, whether you're in custody or you are coming in to report a family violence incident. There are special rooms specifically for those in a private space so they can report the crimes to the police, which many older police stations do not have, and it's one of the strongest parts of feedback that we get from our community that they would like somewhere private to talk about some of the worst moments of their life. So it is a privilege as Commissioner to unveil our police station here in Forrestfield, but it is an extraordinary thanks to everyone in WA Police and the builders and the architects who have been able to put this station together for us in the way they have so that we can continue to serve our community as best we can. Thank you.
All right. Any questions?
Minister, how many officers can be accommodated in this building and how many are going to be working here off the bat?
So the number is 34 or 36. So there were 30. Next door is the old police station, so it's in excess of 30 years old. There were 36 officers crammed into that building. Today we're seeing 36 officers in the new police station with more room than they need, and that's a deliberate decision because we want to build for tomorrow. This is a police station that will be here serving the community for many, many decades to come. So we want to see, as the community around it grows, we want to see the growth in police resources and numbers here in this community. So it has capacity for 100 officers. So I think that's amazing when you think about it. we needed a police station for 36 officers. We built for 100 because we're building for the future. We're looking ahead. We're future-proofing our facilities like this police station and other facilities so that when we need to take on more officers, we're not cramming people into very tight spaces like we have in the past on occasion, but we have a facility which is there ready for the future growth.
Are you able to say how much investment the state government made?
Yeah, I think it's about a number around 25 million. I can get you the 27? Okay, $27 million. And look, we made a commitment back in the 21 election to build 2 new police stations, one in Forrestfield and one in Baldivis. And of course, in that period, as everyone knows who's ever had to build anything, there have been cost escalations coming out of COVID. So $27 million, I still think, is a very good investment for the future of Western Australia. You know, this is going to be a station that's 40, 50, 60 years' time will be serving the community. So it's a very good investment.
Has it opened on time? I think I remember reading it was meant to be operational end of 2024.
Look, we've had actually a really good result with the builders Perkins. They've been very quick in their processes. We've seen these buildings, one here at Forrestfield, another one in Baldivis, go up. I think construction started early 24, and here we are 18 months later with a fully completed operational police station. I think some people have had a lot longer to build a home, a family home, unfortunately. So I think it's been a really good result and a good experience to see this station brought on so quickly.
And I guess to both of you, why is the station not open 24 hours to the public?
Well, I'll have my answer. The Commissioner might want to add to it. It's operational 24/7. If you're in bed and something goes wrong in the night and you want to contact police at 2 a.m, what I do is call the police on my phone. I don't get up, get in the car and drive to a police station. So this is about making sure police are as effective as they can be. So having that 24/7 operational capacity at Forrestfield means that officers through the night can be on the roads in our neighbourhoods, in your street, rather than tied to a desk at the police station. So there are those hours between 8 a.m. and 7 p.m. every weeknight where people can come here and raise issues and, issues that aren't as urgent as a call in the night. But when police are needed, they're available, and that's the main thing. And so, this is why we're equipping vehicles to make them mobile officers on the road. We want police to be out in the community. A good police station is in many ways an empty police station because it means all your officers are out in the community doing the work. They're not tied up with bureaucracy or attached to a police station. So yes, it's important to have police stations in the community and people to be able to contact their police and have that one-on-one face-to-face, which they can between 7 and 8 o'clock in the evening. 8 till 7 in the evening, I'll get that right. But it is a much better result for policing if police are out on the street in their vehicles where crime is happening. Not too many offences happen in a police station, it happens outside in the community. Did you want to elaborate?
Could I just ask you a question before you step away, Minister?
Yeah.
What's the government's position on the idea of setting up a special inquiry into the establishment of Unit 18 raised in the Dodd inquest yesterday?
Look, that's a matter for other ministers. The Corrective Services Minister, I think, has spoken on this issue. I'll just make the comment that it's important we have a facility and the government is in the process of making sure a new facility is provided. But in the meantime, we do need a facility for a very small cohort of very complex and troubled young people who find themselves in a situation where they need to be in that scenario, that custody situation. So it is, we're very mindful of what the recommendations are, and we actually have already taken steps to provide a new facility and plan for a new facility, and that process is going on. But in the meantime, we can't walk away. We need a facility where those young people have to be.
Are you happy with how the broader youth justice system is working?
Look, there are always challenges. Young people in particular, there are challenges all over the state where police, are engaged constantly with young people who are young offenders. The vast majority of our youth in Western Australia are great kids and don't have those issues. Kids that find themselves engaged in the criminal justice system, need that help, need that support. We don't want any kid to be in that situation, but we also need to balance the attention we give to those children to help them along with their lives and give them opportunities, give them wraparound services, but we have to balance that with a need to protect the community as well. So it's always a balance, and it's sometimes a tough balance. We need to protect the community, we need to keep people safe, there needs to be consequences for actions that put others at risk, but we also need to be mindful that there's some kids with some enormous challenges that need support, and we need to show them a new way and new opportunities for their future.
Childcare is in the spotlight this morning. We saw a horror case of alleged abuse over east.
Yeah.
Are you confident there's enough checks and balances in place in WA to keep kids safe?
What we're hearing out of Victoria is truly horrifying. Any parent who's had a child in a childcare centre, the revelations and the allegations coming out of Victoria are truly horrifying. I don't have any evidence that we've, and I think it relates to the conduct of an individual over in Victoria, not a widespread issue. But nevertheless, I think we need to ensure that our young kids, young infants and children, are the most vulnerable in the community, and we need to ensure they are safe. And I know that my colleagues and other ministers have more of a direct responsibility in this area. We'll be, taking very close attention to what's happened in Victoria to ensure that we can keep West Australian children as safe as they can possibly be.
The state government has extended a number of housing incentives today. Is it enough to make a difference to housing supply?
Every little bit helps. Everything we can do helps, whether it's, incentives around Airbnb or it's investment in major headworks, releasing land. We need to do as much as we can. We've got a very good record in our government in delivering new housing. The targets we've committed to have been delivered, but we want to keep on going. I know that the rental vacancy has come back to a more predictable scenario, so that's good. But I know it's tough. I know it's tough to find a house to buy. I know the price of housing is high. Also know it's still a relatively tight rental market, although it's been a lot tighter. So we'll continue to do everything we can. It is one of our government's major efforts. Housing is a huge effort of our government to bring on more supplies and to make sure that more people are able to build a home, and we can invest more in public housing as well.
And just for the Commissioner as well, the dedicated interview room that's being built here, do you feel like that will make people want to report more domestic violence matters to police?
I think it goes without saying that police stations have to be a safe place for victims to come and report, again, one of the most horrifying times of their lives in many cases. It's exactly the feedback that I did get from my advisory group, who are experts in family violence and victim survivors themselves, saying that these rooms will make a huge difference with some privacy rather than in the foyer of a police station, which sadly has happened on many occasions because there just was not those rooms available.
Can you talk about how many holding cells are in this police station?
There's 2 cells here, and there's 2 of those rooms at the front of the foyer area, which are interview rooms, but again aren't like cells. The cells are purpose-built, also safe for those in custody. The latest technology has been implemented to make sure our prisoners, whilst they are here, are very safe.
Yeah, and the technology was described as world-class. Could you maybe provide some insight into what brand new tech officers will have at their disposal?
Well, even just from the audio-visual alone, officers in charge and every person can see what's going on around the facility, certainly in the secure areas. Doors can't be opened simultaneously, to make sure that there's total security. There's privacy areas where people can leave the building, if they're being released from custody without being walked through in front of other police officers. So we look after everyone that comes through the police station. It's just not about victims who report the police officer themselves, but also those in custody deserve the very best, because we do have an obligation to all of our community, including those that commit crime, to make sure they are safe.
The Minister mentioned the vehicles that are behind you. You said that there was a fleet of 12. Well, there's 4 here now. Are they all going to be used by the Rapid Apprehension Squad, and are they all on?
They are, and just to be clear, the Rapid Apprehension Squad is the elite unit that focuses on those that have returned to prison warrants, that have breached family violence or other electronic ankle monitors, or they are what are termed high harm offenders who are out there, who are recidivist offenders in volume crime primarily. But when we need someone arrested quickly because they are harming our community, the Rapid Apprehension Squad are the ones we call upon. They work 24/7 and they work in their vehicles. So their vehicles need to be an office on wheels. They have access to every piece of technology, information, communication that they need to do their job and stay out on the road, and they do an amazing job.
If you had to put a dollar value on one of these cars, what would it be?
As in what they cost or what they're worth to me, because they are worth an absolute fortune. And look, the strong feedback from the Rapid Apprehension Squad is that they want some cars that are safe, that are quick. At the end of the day, sometimes, sadly, some of our community think that they want to evade police. The Rapid Apprehension Squad are our first group that were trained in what's called evade resolution tactics, and that is to bring evading police drivers to resolution very, very quickly. Far too many times we see long pursuits that go for far too long, putting our community at risk. These individuals at Rapid Apprehension Squad, these officers, are trained in evade resolution tactics to bring it to an end very, very quickly, and I think that's what is really the value.
And talking about bad driving, or bad driver behaviour rather, there's some pretty concerning images of people captured on these new road safety cameras. Someone appeared to be smoking a crack pipe while behind the wheel. Are you concerned that despite the rising number of images taken, that safety messaging isn't getting through to drivers out on the roads?
Well, I'm on the record over and over and over again, and the thing that hurts me the most as Commissioner is that it's our people, it's emergency services that have to go and tell the families that their loved one has died, that have to go to a scene that is horrific. This happens day in and day out, all for a preventable death. We have drivers who just do ridiculous things behind the wheel. They are deliberately ridiculous, causing the death and sadness to others. I just cannot believe it keeps happening. And then we see these images like we see on these new cameras, and it's clear that some people just aren't taking it seriously. Hence why we have seized over 1,000 more cars this year from last year. We have impounded 1,000 more cars because every time we see someone doing stupid things, we will impound the car and we will enforce them as heavy as we can within the law.
Commissioner, your officers are on the front line of youth crime issues. Are you happy with how the broader youth justice system is working?
Look, it's not my place to comment about youth justice. What I can say is of the 250-odd thousand young people from 10 to 17 in Western Australia, 1,880 are committing 90% of the crime. It's a very small number of youth in Western Australia who are committing a serious crime. Our focus is on those, and I've got to say I've been really pleased to see some of the investment in PCYC, particularly in the last budget. A lot of the work going on up in the Kimberley, which has really brought youth crime down. I won't comment on youth justice, it's not my place to, but our police have seen a drastic reduction as a result of having things like safe space at nights and places where police can take young children so they aren't out committing crime.
We've seen a few evade incidents over the last few weeks that have ended in crashes through no fault of any officers, but the Minister mentioned that these were built to be able to pursue safely. Can you talk us through, what that capability is? So the evade resolution tactics, which is a new policy in WA Police, we sent some of our people over to the US and to Scotland who were trained in other resolution tactics around the world, the very best resolution tactics around the world. There are capabilities called stationary vehicle containment and mobile vehicle containment, where it's a team-based approach to stop those vehicles as quick as possible. Sometimes that does result in contact. Particularly when we had the air wing up, which, as we know, we have 2 new helicopters and an array of other aircraft and drones. It's a coordinated effort to bring that evade to resolution as quick as possible. And again, the Rapid Apprehension Squad are our most skilled operators, and we have had extraordinary success in this space. We have to remember any evade is of high risk to our community. And sadly, we saw a death last week when someone was evading police prior to that evade being called off, and we resulted in an innocent motorist in our community dying, and that is a tragedy.
Is Assistant Commissioner Gayleen Hamilton still on leave, and do you have an update on that internal investigation?
Yes, she's still on leave. She stood down, and I don't have an update at this stage. I'm told it's only days away.
Thank you, Commissioner. machete. Police found something that they didn't suspect to find when they searched that property. Are the two crimes related?
Look, it's a matter before the courts at the moment, but I'll say this in more general terms. Drug dealers usually get invaded in their homes by drug users. I'm not saying there's a lot of, I'll allege everything at this point, but we have charged the person in the home for drug matters as well. And I would say good people of Western Australia have nothing to fear in that situation. It's very confined to those involved.
And can you provide a dollar value as to what was seized in terms of the cash?
I don't have a breakdown. I think the search is either just finishing or just ongoing at the moment.
Will you be looking to charge Brent Wyndham following the Triple C's recommendation into their review of his misconduct?
Certainly we take the Triple C's report very seriously. Our Internal Affairs Unit is conducting an investigation as to the criminality of that behaviour. Obviously we have to meet a certain threshold to proceed to charging, but there's no reason that we wouldn't be able to get to that threshold given the comments from the Triple C.
And just on childcare, obviously it's come back into the spotlight because of that awful case over east, but we have seen some recently in WA. Is it a big concern for WA Police at the moment? Would people be surprised about how many cases of this happen?
Well, I think child abuse of any type is horrendous, and I think the whole community would agree with me on that. It's a disgusting crime that just puts a horrible taste in the mouth of every Western Australian. And what I read about what's happened in Victoria is a disgrace. Look, the first line of defence for us is working with Children's Check for every person that works with children. But there are other things that can be done as well, and certainly parents and work colleagues to look for that strange behaviour and concerning behaviour. From a policing perspective, we have the Child Exploitation Operations Squad, which look for online content and those who are trawling online for child abuse material. Sadly, in our past, we have seen those working with children engaging in that behaviour online, that illegal behaviour. We also have the Child Abuse Squad that look for child sex assault matters and investigate those involved. The capabilities that they have here in WA Police is extraordinary. Again, we have sent a lot of our people over to Homeland Security and FBI to be trained, and we have an exceptional capability here to detect those offenders very early in the piece. And I don't think any of us would wish this horrible crime on anyone, but as soon as we can identify that behaviour, we'll be arresting and taking action as soon as possible.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.